Hey everyone, thanks for watching and welcome to another episode of the Gamecast Weekly News Roundup. I'm your host, Rob Cray. First off, I'd like to congratulate Sony on the sales of its PlayStation 4 console. The Sony PS4 has officially sold more than 4.2 million units worldwide, making it one of the most successful console launches in history. And as I've reported in recent weeks, the PS4 is currently outselling Microsoft's Xbox One in both the US and the UK. It seems the gulf in sales between the two consoles continues to grow. According to NPD sales numbers, Sony is now outselling the Xbox One by as much as a 2-to-1 ratio in the US, selling 280,000 units last month versus Microsoft's 145,000 units. Either way, both new consoles contributed to a great month for overall video game sales, with consumers spending $241 million on video games. That's up from $205 million during the same period in 2013. And as I've mentioned before, it'll be interesting to see if Microsoft can turn the tide with big-name exclusives like Titanfall and that upcoming patch that they plan to use to increase the system's GPU power. And with so much riding on the success of Titanfall at the moment, Microsoft has also announced it'll be making some changes to the Xbox One's controller with a new patch. Prior to the system's launch, Microsoft made a big deal out of the Xbox One's controller, claiming to have spent some $100 million in designing and making optimizations to it. Now these new changes are coming at the request of Titanfall developer Respawn Entertainment. Evidently the controller's analog sticks aren't quite as precise as the developer would like. They say the patch will make the movement feel much less twitchy. Microsoft says the new patch will be ready to go in time for Titanfall's release date on March 11th. It was supposed to come out last week but was delayed. No word yet on exactly when it'll be available. And while we're on the subject of Titanfall, I just wanted to mention that the game's beta is now not only live, but it's open to the public. A few days ago, I was excited to receive an invite to take part in the beta, but less than a day later, Xbox Live's Major Nelson announced that the beta was going public for all Xbox One owners. So if you haven't already got in on the action, the Titanfall beta can evidently be downloaded through the Xbox One store, just like any other game demo. I just hope none of you fell victim to eBay sellers who were making a quick buck after the beta invites were sent out. It turns out that quite a few people decided to sell their invites. I watched several auctions go for as much as $30. I'd hate to be the guy who spent that kind of money only to find out that it became open to everyone. But come on people, who spends $30 for a beta invite? That's like half the cost of the full game and it's only a few weeks away. Remember, patience, grasshopper. Now on to a bunch of upcoming game news. First up is Evolve, which is the latest game from Turtle Rock Studios. Turtle Rock is the company who previously developed the Left 4 Dead series, and in case you missed it, after months of teasing with game details, they finally unleashed the first gameplay trailer. If you played Left 4 Dead, then you kinda know what to expect from Evolve from a gameplay standpoint. The game is highly focused on multiplayer gameplay, which revolves around 4 human players who are tasked with tracking down and killing an alien monster which is controlled by a 5th player. Each human player will have a specific role in the game in the form of 4 playable classes. These include Assault, Trapper, Medic, and Support. The monster, on the other hand, will start off fairly weak, but as the game progresses and it's able to survive and avoid the human players, it'll increase in size and strength until it ultimately can go from being the hunted to the hunter. Evolve will be available for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC later this year. No word yet on an exact release date. And it looks like survival horror fans have a reason to rejoice since the release date for Shinji Mikami's latest game, The Evil Within, has finally been announced. The game is being developed by Japanese development studio Tango Gameworks and published by Basida Softworks. As I mentioned, the game is most notable because it's the latest game from Shinji Mikami, who is widely considered the godfather of the survival horror genre. Mikami is responsible for games like Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, and Resident Evil 4. He's returning to the survival horror genre after a nearly 10-year hiatus. The Evil Within will release on August 26th in the US and August 29th in Europe. It'll be available on both current-gen and next-gen consoles, as well as PC. And here's some scary news for fans of Ubisoft's upcoming highly anticipated game Watch Dogs. The company has announced that the game will once again be delayed, but this time it's only being delayed for the Wii U version of the game. This is just the latest in a series of bad news for Nintendo's fledgling console. As you may recall, Watch Dogs was originally set for a November 2013 release date, but was delayed until sometime in spring 2014. For now, it seems the game will release as planned on all other platforms, including current-gen and next-gen consoles, as well as PC. There's no word yet on an exact release date, though it's expected to be released sometime between April and June. And while there's been a lot of bad news for Wii U owners lately, here's some news that will have everyone else green with envy. Nintendo has announced that the highly anticipated Mario Kart 8 will be released on May 8th, and that's not all. All 7 of Bowser's lovable children, the Koopalings, will also be playable racers in the game. The Koopalings made their first appearance in Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES back in the early 90s. They then appeared on Super Mario World for the SNES, but then disappeared for a number of years. Finally, they made their return in New Super Mario Bros. On Wii, and have since been a staple in all the Mario-related games since. I personally have always been especially fond of Lemmy Koopa myself. Mario Kart 8 will of course be available exclusively on the Wii U. And here's something else for Nintendo fans to brag about. It looks like Punch-Out's Little Mac is the latest character to join the lineup of Super Smash Bros. Brawlers. Little Mac, of course, is the protagonist from Nintendo's popular Punch-Out series, and is now the 23rd character that's been confirmed for the new game. Super Smash Bros. Is the 4th game in the Brawl series, which is being developed by Sora Ltd. and Namco Bandai Games, and of course is being published by Nintendo. The game will be available on both the Wii U and the 3DS later this year. And if you're a fan of the TV series Sons of Anarchy, here's some potentially good news. Series creator Kurt Sutter announced via his Twitter account that a video game based on the show is on its way. According to his tweets, Sutter said, quote, "There will definitely be an SOA game. It's pretty fucking awesome." He also went on to say that the game would be a first-person action-adventure with high-definition graphics that would, quote, "represent the evolution of gaming." This latest news comes on the heels of several failed attempts to get a Sons of Anarchy game off the ground. It's rumored that Sutter even approached Grand Theft Auto developer Rockstar Games about the project at one point. No word yet on a release date or even what system the game is being developed for. And Sony has finally announced a US release date for the new slimmer PS Vita model. The new PS Vita was announced last year and launched in Japan last October. The new Vita is said to be 20% slimmer and 15% lighter than the original model. The biggest change between the two models is that the slim model replaces the original Vita's OLED screen with an LCD screen, most likely to cut production costs. The slim PS Vita will cost $199 and will come bundled with Borderlands 2 and an 8GB memory card. Sony didn't specify a release date other than spring 2014, but Amazon.com is currently accepting pre-orders with a release date of May 31st. And after multiple delays, it looks like South Park: The Stick of Truth is finally hitting store shelves next month. The game was written by the show's creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and is being developed by Obsidian Entertainment and published by Ubisoft. The Stick of Truth is a turn-based role-playing game, which shouldn't come as too much of a surprise considering that Obsidian is known for developing role-playing games like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 and Fallout New Vegas. The game has been delayed 2 times. It was originally set to be released in April 2013, but then was pushed back to December 2013 after the original publisher THQ filed for bankruptcy and Ubisoft bought the rights. Then in December, it was again announced that the game would be delayed until spring 2014. Well, it looks like the game is finally going to get a release on March 4th in the US and March 7th in Europe. The game's achievement and trophy list recently leaked, and as expected, they feature some of South Park's trademark humor. One of the more hilarious achievements includes one called Canadian Handshake, which requires you to fart on 100 people in the game. Another called Irritable Bowels requires you to shit your pants during a boss battle. Bravo, Matt and Trey, bravo. And with all those new games hitting our way, many of us will probably be hitting our nearest GameStop to pre-order and hopefully score some good pre-order swag, right? That usually entails some stupid piece of DLC that should have just come with the game in the first place. But in years past, companies used to offer some pretty cool pre-order bonuses like action figures, t-shirts, physical real-world collectibles and things like that. Well, it turns out that a GameStop in Italy is offering a rather unusual pre-order bonus for gamers who pre-order the upcoming PS4 game Infamous Second Son. They'll be getting 2 cans of Red Bull and a box of glow-in-the-dark condoms. You heard me right. The ad on the site says, quote, "A fill of energy for an explosion of pleasure." So what do you think? Would a box of rubbers and some Red Bull entice you to pre-order a game? And what was the best pre-order bonus that you've ever actually gotten for pre-ordering a game? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, once again, I want to thank you for watching. Be sure to check out all of our videos on our official YouTube channel. We're dedicated to bringing you the latest gaming news along with gamer commentary, special segments, trivia, contests, and much more. So be sure to subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/gamecastnews. Oh wait, don't go yet, there's more. How about a little video game trivia? Let's see how well you guys really know your game history. First, I have the answer to last week's question. Did you know the answer? Not many people seem to know what the X in Xbox means, but the console was originally almost called the Direct Xbox, referencing Microsoft's DirectX API graphics technology. I personally am glad they made the change. The name Xbox just seems to roll off the tongue a lot easier. Now on to this week's question. The Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 both had very successful launches over the past couple of months, but it's still too early to tell which console will end up selling more units this generation. That being said, which gaming console claims the title as the best-selling video game console of all time? Is it Sony's PlayStation 2, the Nintendo NES, the Xbox 360, or the Nintendo Wii? I'll have the answer in next week's show. And before you go, here's a list of some notable games that will be available in stores this week.